Guy Powell here, and I wanted to do what I believe are the top 5 things that someone should know about the Shroud of Turin. First of all, the shroud is about 14 feet long, and it's about 3 feet wide, and it has an image of the body, of the front of the body, and then of the back of the body, or the dorsal image. So let's start at the bottom of the feet. There's a stain here replicating what's in the Bible, where his feet and ankles were then nailed to the cross. That's probably number 1. The second thing I wanted to talk about are the hands and the arms. Here we have then the stain of the blood from his wrists, where his arms were then nailed to the cross. And then with that stain then is also, you can see, running down both arms, so that both hands, even though you can only see one here, both hands were then nailed to the cross, just like it talks about in the Gospels. That's the second one. The third one is then going to be the stain in the side, and this we'll see as well as we get over to the dorsal side of the image. This is then the side where the Roman soldier punctured his body, went all the way into his heart to stop his heart if it was still going, and then also into his lungs. He was dead at the time. This blood then is blood that had accumulated in his lungs, and while he was basically asphyxiating on the cross. So that was number 3. Number 4 is the face and the back of the head. The face is it turns out that the image of the face, and of course the whole image, but primarily the image, actually has 3D information on it, so that when you do a 3D analysis of it, you actually get the depth of the face and other pieces of it. One of the things that's also kind of interesting is that this E or 3 stain here is one of the ones that is quite often replicated on images that you see throughout the Middle Ages, where it's been replicated as a tuft of hair coming down his forehead, as opposed to being a blood stain. And when you look at a lot of the images that you'll see around the world of him being on the cross, or then him anywhere, is they'll always have a little piece of hair there, and that's mistakenly been identified as hair, when in reality it's blood. On the back of the head, of course, we have what's called the crown of thorns, the wounds from the crown of thorns, where the thorns were just jammed in and rammed into his skull. And in reality, you'll see that there really isn't a crown per se. It was more of a cap of thorns. So I think that was number 4. And then number 5 is, moving down the back are all of the whip marks. So he was whipped and scourged like crazy, with over 100 different hits, and each one of those hits had a triplet, so that the scourge, the flagellum as it's called, probably had 3 ends to it, and you'll see all of these little triplets as each of those hits came from the Roman soldiers while he was being scourged. Now, I talked about the blood stain from his chest on the front side of the image. This is now the reverse of it. This is then what happened on the back side of the image. So blood came out the side, and then you can see that he was probably turned from one side to the other, where the blood actually was coming out this side, and then flowed down here, and then started another blood stain over here. And then I think the 5th one that I'm working on, I've lost count now, I just want to point out the blood stain from the wounds in the ankle. I pointed that out previously on the front. This is now the back side and the back of his feet, and you can see not only the blood all over the bottom of his feet, but also coming out the side and leaking out the side. One bonus item of my list of 5 are all of the repairs that were made to the shroud, and you can see those. These were made by the Poor Clare sisters, and then partially improved on by, believed to have been improved on by a Father Valfray in the 1700s. The Poor Clare sisters made these repairs based on a fire that took place in Chambéry in the 1500s in Chambéry, France, and these were then to repair the holes that were made. And it turns out that they also sewed this onto what's called a Holland cloth to keep it a little bit more stable. So these repairs were on the front side, and then the back side was this big, huge Holland cloth. And that Holland cloth had been on there for 500 or 600 years, and the back side of the cloth hadn't been looked at for over 600 years until 1978, when a team called STIRP actually did some further scientific analysis. With that, that's 5, I think, of the top things that somebody should know about the Shroud of Turin, and with one bonus on the damage that was done during the Chambéry fire.